Let's do it.
All right, everybody. Looks like we are live on Facebook. Facebook loves me today again. Unfortunately, this morning's Zoom meeting was a bit of a problem, but Facebook loves us. We're all good to go. So today we've got Alexander Smith on the live stream. Alexander Smith is a fantastic wedding photographer. I think when it comes to out of the box stuff, he's your guy. I haven't seen a curated set of his images. I've seen bits and pieces across the web and Instagram, etc. And I really love what I see every time I see it. So I can't wait for him to certainly take me through all of his images. And I'm pretty sure you guys are going to get a kick out of seeing all of his images. So remember to ask questions. I'll be passing them on to him as we go. But for now, Alexander, over to you.
Okay. How's it, folks? Thanks for joining. Excited that I can get to chat a little bit. It's nice to have some out-of-house conversations during this lockdown time. I'll introduce you to my family a little bit later via picture, just because they're too noisy in person. But yeah, it's a big, loud, crazy house. So getting back to a little bit of photography is quite cool. So thanks for joining. Today, what I wanted to chat about is just during this time of lockdown and social distancing, I think it's so lekker that we can use this opportunity to upskill and educate ourselves, and just maybe try and be a little bit re-inspired. One thing that's been quite cool, that I've been doing at home, is doing a lot more iPhoneography. And it might be a cool challenge for you guys to do it. I've been looking at the way that the shadows and light hits my walls around the house in different ways, and I've been shooting that. So keep an eye on our Instagram. We'll probably be posting some of that stuff soon. It kind of feels like it's opening my eyes up to the B-roll of life. Just
I love it.
Trying to do shoot a wedding, sell a wedding, edit a wedding, and then actually do the telling the story of the wedding, and then albums, and then okay, cool, that's done. Next. It's kind of been a cool time to stop and breathe and look around, which is something I used to do a lot when I was starting, and now having gotten a lot busier, feels like it's not something I've done in a while. So I'm kind of, in that way, grateful for this time of slowing down, the forced rush. Yeah, so that being said, we constantly get caught up in the business of gear and what's next and what are our competitors doing, that we sometimes forget the people that have hired us to tell their stories. And I want to remind us today about that. I want to remind us about this unique individual story that will make each couple look. So I mostly do wedding photography, so I'll talk a lot from that perspective. But the story that makes each couple fall in love with their images and feel that I shot it in a unique way just for them, completely bespoke. Even though I might be using the same kind of backlit technique, it just feels to them like this is their story, which I want to just share how I do it with you guys. So my story is, my first daughter was born just about 12 years ago. In 1 month's time, it'll be 12 years. And when she was born, just before she was born, thought, okay, cool, gotta buy a camera, because that's what parents do. They take photos of their kids, and started taking photo of her, and then started really enjoying that, the ability to be able to take a moment and make it last forever. I like that. I like the way that I could be an artist. And I I studied a bit of engineering at varsity and ended up with like a BA in corporate communications and was working as a copywriter, but didn't really feel like I was much of an artist. And then after doing some photos with the kids, and then with some family, and then going to the Photo and Film Expo here in Johannesburg, started doing some micro stock after that. And then that stuff started selling. Some friends started seeing some of my stuff on Facebook, and it just started kind of grew. But within about 6 months, I was able to go full time, which is amazing. And then, you know, in the first year, did maybe like 1 wedding. The next year did maybe 5, and then the next year they did maybe 10. And then the last 5 years, probably, we've been shooting over 70 weddings a year. Last year was actually our biggest with over 80. So it's been an amazing run. And now, you know, we broke 700 weddings last year. So it's been like it's been a crazy whirlwind. And that with 4 kids and a wife and a house that we love to renovate. It's been a mad season, but it's kept me on my toes, and also it's made me grayer than Quentin even, which nobody can believe, right?
That's not possible. That's absolutely not possible. But keep telling yourself that.
Like these are the guys. These are the guys of why I do what I do. It's my 3 girls and a little boy, and this beautiful queen of a wife that supports me constantly, that bought my own camera for me, or my first one at least. And yeah, so they're the guys. They are why I do what I do. You can see me over there, that I gave all my looks to the rest of my family, which is why I have nothing left. And this is our team. So we've got Liesl that does our accounting and booking on the far, I suppose it's your left, and then me in the middle, and then Gustav, he's a partner that's been shooting with me, but now has recently actually immigrated to Tasmania. So now he is on his own island, actually far away. And then Kylie on the far right, she's our editor. So she's the one that really takes amazing pictures, or takes average pictures and makes them look amazing. So I'm really grateful for her. She also does our album edits and works with changes with clients and things like that. And then I get all the edited images from her, and then I blog, which makes my weekdays much quieter and calmer, that I can actually have a little bit more time to be with the family, because I do operate as the stay-at-home dad, really. Cool. So back to the presentation. So when a lot of us started out, some of us might have started out from a very, I know a lot of photographers that were engineers before, and they love the technical aspect of photography. Love the gear, love like the aperture triangle, the exposure triangle, and they love to get like things perfectly right. And then you get the other guys on the other spectrum that are total artists that really have no idea about exposure. And then they kind of like just take everything that's pretty for them. And then there's the balance, or I feel like you need to have a balance between the two. So that we are artists that know how to actually use our craft and tool well. And that is the way that we actually do get to make money from it, right? Because we are consistent, we are trusted, because of the product that we deliver is constantly good. I want to just read something here that I'd written before. So today I want to transform your photography business by thinking like an artist, not the tortured, struggling, or selfish and arrogant characteristics of an artist. And a lot of us photographers, actually, we do feel that way. We do. The kind of things stories I hear about photographers that have just kind of been like taken over situations and taken over events as if it's their own. It makes me cringe sometimes. But I want to open your eyes to what's really happening here. Like we are that type of artist. We are like the artists who have been given eyes to see beauty, and we get the opportunity to capture that beauty and then share it with those who don't have eyes to see. And that is our gift, and that has got to be our gift to the world. That we can share like split seconds of moments that last forever now, but get to get to be evangelists of this beauty that we've taken, and then share it with the world, and then make the world feel like a little bit of a better place, which is why I love wedding photography so much, because everyone's happy, everyone's looking beautiful. We don't have the issue of now and then you get some issues of people getting drunk and acting crazy, but most of the time everyone's happy. Everybody wants you to take photos with them because they look amazing at that point. And if you can be there, and if you can be generous with your skill or with your craft, then you can really make an impact in people's lives. So that is what I want to encourage us to do. So I just want to make sure that everybody, Quentin, is the display happening cool? The slides are flicking over correctly?
It's happening fantastic.com. I see. Is that Katie's Palace there?
That is. Well, that's Sir James van der Merwe just below, but you're right. It's kind of the same.
I'm in the same location. Fantastic.
Yes, you're right. Jonas Peterson has this amazing quote that I will read for you now. He says, "Today, everyone is a photographer, but just being able to take a good image is no longer enough." With iPhoneography, and do they call it Samsonography?
No, not Samsung.
Never, ever.
Nope.
So, with iPhoneography, everybody, sometimes folks ask, like, geez, man, how do you still have a successful business if everybody is a photographer now? And for me, I believe that, the more people that can take good photos, the more people value good photography. And that means the more I can charge as a good photographer. Because the people view the art of photography much higher. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the 52 pixel, I think it's a Nokia camera or 52 megapixel camera I'm grateful for that, because it makes more people want what we can do, which is cool. Okay, so back to Jonas Peterson saying that everyone is a photographer and it's not good enough just to take a good image. What sets a good photographer apart, or even a good brand, is not their ability just to be able to take a photo, but to be able to take a picture that can make people feel something. And this is done through stories, which is why I initially, I labeled this kind of presentation, how to make money telling stories, because it's not just how to make money taking pictures. It's got to be deeper than that. There's got to be an artistic value of it if you really want to make money. Otherwise, the best way to make money is selling all your equipment. But I don't want you to do that, because I want you to...
Don't suggest that. That's not the theme of the show. I think
more kit. So if anybody...
Get back to the point of the show. That's not what it's about.
Please don't. During this time, use your craft well. Then you will be making money. Don't stress. This too shall pass. Okay. So we got to make them see, not just with their eyes, but with their hearts. And that is the way that they'll open up their wallets. Not just, I'm going to leave it there. That's a great tagline to write down, actually. Stories will make people open up their wallets. It's not just a pretty picture, because you can see a pretty picture from photos with an iPhone, but a photo that really kind of moves people and touches them somewhere. There they will pay whatever they can to have it, because that is what makes art so valuable, right?
Absolutely. It's like I was saying on Monday. You as a photographer, if you want to book high-end weddings, you need to sell the dream. You need to sell the story. You're not you don't sell pictures. You don't sell JPEGs, etc.
No.
You're selling a story, you're selling a dream. This picture that I'm looking at now with the dress and the ruffles and the whatever, as a bride or a groom, I want to look at that and go, oh, my pictures are going to be fantastic. I want that guy. That's what you're selling. You're selling the goosebumps that I'm feeling now. That's what you're selling. You're not selling pictures.
I agree. That's so well put. Yeah, that's definitely it. And I mean, I think that's what will set. That's right. That's what will set you up into the high end market. In the beginning, when you're starting to photograph, and you don't have like the people that are spending, $1 or $2 for a wedding. So obviously when you have folks spending that amount, then it's quite easy to start taking pretty pictures. But pretty pictures is not the thing that'll continue to get you those clients. It's photos that move you. So that's very, very true. So if they can feel like they can be in there, then oh man, then you're golden. So yeah, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, or what is it? A picture speaks 1,000 words. So if you're thinking about a story, we're looking at this picture now. I mean, this is their first dance. It's an Afrikaans couple, so this was a proper socky. They love to dance together. Dancing, when I listened to their backstory, which is super important, which I'll get to later, I knew that dancing was really powerful for them. It was the way that they met, and it was, they really wanted to blow folks away with how they were with their first dance. So getting this shot for me makes this one of the most powerful shots for their album. And look, I often would go down and get a shot pretty close to something like this, but I mean, everything just worked together in my favor here with the ruffles and so on, and the feet bending and the bottom. So you understand what's going on here, but it won't always be the title cover for their album, because it's other folks weren't into dancing as much as what these folks were. So telling a story that has a link is super, super important. And that's how you can make a story bespoke and personal, rather than this is the way I'm going to shoot it, and you will like it. I love to say that I'm a director, not a conductor. So my understanding of classical music, which isn't very much, is that the conductor would stand in the orchestra pit, and then he would point to the cello. He wants that to be a little bit more. Now he moves over to the horn, and then he brings everyone together into a crescendo, and then he wants silence. So he directs everyone. Everyone's reading their music, but everyone's following his lead, exactly the way that he wants it to come out. Whereas a director would pitch the idea for a scene, and for an emotion, for this is what he wants to feel when he sees this scene. So he'll chuck it out, and I chuck it out to the couple, like, okay, cool, I want a little bit of tension. I want you to move a little bit like this. I'm thinking in the album, I don't have one of you to kind of like maybe with him behind her and him embracing her. So I'm thinking, okay, cool, I want to do something like that. I'll set up the pose, I'll look at the lighting, I'll sort out all of that, but I want you to look back at him and think about the first time that he used that one-liner on you, or something like that. And then I'll step back and then get them to act it out. So they're interpreting what my vision was. And that way the story becomes unique to them, rather than the story being my way or no way. I hope that makes sense. So like this image here, this couple they got married. There was a super small wedding of like 5 people at their house that they had been renovating, and it was an ice cold day, and these are crazy passionate couple. So yeah, cool. It was icy cold. So when we went out for my night shot, it was misty. almost, whenever like you could see the condensation coming out as he's breathing. And I love the look of that, the way the light at the backlight caught that. But because they were so passionate, I didn't want it just to be like a cold thing. So we got some sparklers, and we got their friends to hold the sparklers in front and behind and all over them, so that we can get a little bit of fire. I wanted like a fire and ice vibe, and then shot this through there. And it's like, this has become one of our signature shots, or let's say it's one of the shot that we use on our business card. It's become one of my favorite photos. We've done some editing to it because that smoke, the smoke that's catching the light just above his cheek, I don't like that. So I've actually edited that like darker since, because it gets a bit distracting because the contrast is too strong there. But it's become one of my favorite shots, even though it was like a 7-person wedding, small budget, but it shows the passion that they have for each other, which I love. So as we're telling a story, like I mentioned, we're there to direct. So it's our vision. We've got to have the idea. The strangest thing for me, I get a lot of clients that see my albums or stuff online or follow us on Instagram. Most of them, and I'm sure most folks that you guys would meet too, would say, listen, we don't like posing at all. Then I'm like, okay, cool. No, but seriously, we don't like any pose shots. Okay, brilliant. So, and then I try and paint the picture for them that, cool, so we're going to go out, we're going to find a beautiful location, and then I'm going to say, okay, go. They won't have a clue what to do. They're not going to know like how to stand or what. So then I kind of pull it back and go, okay, cool. So trust me, I'm going to put you in a position. I'm going to get you, I'm going to see a scene. I'm going to have a vision for the scene. I'm going to put you there. And then I'm going to take a step back and get you guys to interact with each other. And that way, my vision is there. You're getting what you're paying for, but we're also going to get your unique, your uniqueness. So tell me a little bit about yourselves and about what you do. And then I'm going to pick up like, okay, cool. They love like an urban vibe. They have a little bit of an aloofness. Some couples are like, we don't care about public displays of affection. We just want to go for it. We'll like, pigs in blanket kiss in front of everybody. We don't mind. And then you get other folks that are much more like, we're really concerned about what people think about us. So we don't want to, we don't want to be touching each other too much. I do a lot of Jewish weddings where there's a lot of religious reasons not to be allowed to touch, and obviously not to display any images where they are being too intimate. So I've had to kind of like work out a couple of versions of poses that have this tension between them, but still looks cool, And then I love when people can just just get into each other. Man, I just want to that's why I love weddings, because it's all okay now. You can just do what you want. She's yours, you're his. It's amazing.
I've got a question for you which is kind of quite a nice segue there.
Yeah.
So Robin Rolf Wood says, so you're saying that your photography is based on learning about the couple as a whole, who they are, how they met, family, friends are important to them, etc. Is that how you prepare your storyboard for a wedding, feeding off their energy? I think it's a great question.
Excellent question. And that's great. I love the wording there as well. That feeding off their energy. When I arrive at a wedding, I think it's important for us to have created a bit of a mood board for them. They don't even have to see it, but I love to ask folks like, hey man, give me if you have any Pinterest boards, give it to me. I might not duplicate each of those photos, but it'll give me an idea of what your vibe is. So like if cool, I can see like maybe 6 of the 7 photos that you've shown me have got that beautiful golden wraparound light from behind as the sun setting. So then I know, okay, this is an important look for you. So when I'm doing the family photos or whatever, and it's taken long, and I see, geez, there's that last sliver of light. I'm going to stop the family photos and say, guys, we quickly need to go grab that shot because I know you love this type of look. And then go take them quickly to that sliver of light, grab that shot, come back to the family photos, and then carry on with that. So I love to get like their backstory, what they do for fun, a Pinterest board of what their of what kind of shots they like. And look, honestly, Pinterest, I mean, folks would search like best wedding photography, best wedding photos, and they end up all being pretty much the same. So that's pretty, it doesn't really help that much anymore now that I've just seen so many of the same stuff. But also then, you know, by the way that the groom is with his groomsmen and the vibe that I get from the retinue together, and then the bridal party and how they are, and to kind of like, I mean, I feel like emotional intelligence is one of the biggest, besides like, I feel it's more important than almost knowing your exposure triangle, because you need to, if you really want to tell artistic story, you need to be able to stop and like look into the hearts of people's souls as you look into their eyes, as you kind of like see the way that their eyes dart, or the way that you can see that their that the bride's heart skips a beat when she knows her dad's coming up. You know, then you know, geez, okay, this is an intense moment for her. I'm gonna give her a bit of a brief, and then step back, and then let it happen. And I'm gonna catch that tear, and I might even pop out and just give the dad a bit of a heads up and say, she's looking amazing. She's so excited to see you. Go in there and tell her how beautiful she looks. Because often dads are like, you look really great. Let's go. We're late. You know, they get so nervous that that moment that the little girl has been dreaming about. Well, sorry, that the bride has been dreaming about since she was a little girl, feels so like glib because he's so nervous he doesn't know how to act. So some guys nail it. Some other guys just like, you can see that they're emotional, but they're just not showing it, which is so sad.
I think it's a really good point that you raised there. I mean, I've always said when it comes to weddings that the hardest part of my job was always managing the people, you know, managing the relationships and finding the pace of the couple and things like that. Because if things get a little bit worked up and stressed, you need to kind of slow it down a little bit and take a deep breath. And then when you can, you kind of go with it a bit more. Anyone can take a picture. You know, you can learn the technicalities, and there's the flash and there's the background and bang, bang, bang. But if you don't understand how to get the best out of people, that's the hardest part of the job for me. And I think you've just said it there as well. Just the understanding of people and maybe a bit of human nature. That's the key.
Yeah, very, very good. Very good. Very good. Sometimes you kind of see like, geez, this bridesmaid is freaking this bride out. And I know it's not going to be good. So I'll be like, okay, hey, Laura, let's get you outside for some individual. Oh, cool. Oh, you know what? My assistant's going to do that. He's going to carry it, but I want to get some nice ones of you for your Tinder or whatever. For real, really? But yeah, so emotional intelligence, super, super important. But then I sometimes like to go there, you know, even after 700 weddings, I still get nervous for a wedding on the day. I still kind of feel like a little bit of anxiety on the drive there. I kind of like, man, I gotta like do some prayer, and it's like hectic. It still feels like it takes a lot out of me. And I like to arrive a little bit earlier, like 40 minutes earlier, and just kind of like start walking through like get my head into that space from like noisy kids and home renovations to, okay, like this is their day. This is like what makes their day unique. You know, my wife was really good at this. Like I would arrive home in the beginning, like after I started getting busier, I'd arrive home at the evening and she'd be like, oh, so tell me about the wedding. What flowers did they have? And I'd be like, you know, they had those white orchids, you know. And then she was like, hey, she chose those white orchids specifically for a reason. And then I'm like, oh, geez, yeah, you're right. Even though I might have seen it 1,000 times before, this is specific for her one day. So I need to look when I walk into like a room, or let's say the hall. I need to look at it like, wow, each of these things was chosen specifically there was a reason why she decided on peonies over roses, or the other type of flower, or greenery. Thanks. Or greenery, or whatever over something else. There was a reason for that, and that kind of all helps me to add texture to the story. So I think getting the vibe of the couple and drawing a lot from their energy together is super important. And that's how even after so many weddings, I can feel like I get excited about a wedding still, because I'm doing it uniquely. I'm drawing a lot from the couple to tell their story uniquely, rather than like, oh my gosh, another Avianto wedding, Yeah. Anyway, cool. So I love to have a jaw, love to have fun. I love to draw a little bit of craziness out of people. And I get a lot of videographers that come up to me afterwards and be like, dude, how on earth don't you get smacked at weddings? Because it feels like half the time you're ripping these people off all the time. And how on earth do you get these big guys like to accept that you're just, having a laugh? Or and I feel like, guys know that I constantly make sure that I have an endearing demeanor, that I might rip you off, and I love ripping off bridesmaids and groomsmen, because we have a lot of fun with them, and they, I just kind of let them realize, don't take yourself so seriously. The day's not about you. And then it helps to like iron out a lot of creases, and then we get a lot of bookings from those guys that we ripped off, because it helped us have fun. It helped iron out any tension that there was between anyone kind of like trying to like be a little bit more concerned about how their hair looked compared to the brides. It's being honest but endearing helps you to have some fun, but also get away with a lot. So try that. And then obviously you get those like crazy wild moments, but then also having to remember that the wedding is a solemn occasion, and you need to kind of like slow down and tell that story too. I love to tell folks that it's a wedding, it's not a photo shoot, so I'm not going to spend 2 hours taking your couple shots, because it's bad for you as a host to keep your guests waiting for so long. And it's not good for my business either when I arrive and you've got like really cranky folks at the wedding that they are, they just want to go ahead into starters. I would recommend that we just have a like 45 minute to an hour couple session, and that should be more than enough to tell the story of their day. Cool. I'm gonna, okay, cool. So from when we meet the couple now, I'm just gonna chat a little bit about them. So so guys found you online, and now they want to meet up, or I think it's super important, as soon as you get an email, send them a request or send them a response back, and we don't know where folks are coming from. Some guys have terrible email etiquette, and other guys don't. But we can't be too swift to judge. So be gracious if guys like use the wrong words or call you by the wrong name or whatever. Just be gracious and continue to chat with them. Make sure that they have as much information as possible. Because even if they don't end up booking you, they're going to always think back upon their engagement with you and how great it was. And then if they let's say they booked somebody else for their wedding, they didn't like their pics or whatever, when it comes time for somebody to be recommended, they're going to say, we didn't use him, but we should have. This guy was really great, or really nice guy, go check his stuff out online. And then you have a referral, and then it might work out in your favor at some stage. When we meet with a couple, I love to sit down with them and kind of like first listen to their backstory. We mentioned this a little bit earlier. Love to first thing first is like, so how did you guys meet? What do you do? What do you do for fun? Tell me about the engagement. How did that happen? And people love talking about themselves. So this was really cool for them to have a time that they can talk, and then I'm just listening. Instead of me just coming and telling them how amazing I am, I just get to listen. And I end up, you know, most folks are like, oh man, he was such a great guy. Why, what did he do? You know, nothing really much. He just listened to our story, which is cool. And through all of those times, I'm watching how they are with each other. Are they touching each other underneath the table, or, you know, are they nervous? Often you get like conflicting stories of hey, you know, it went like this. Oh no, it didn't go like that. And I love to hear how their engagement story was actually a flop, because 99% of times the engagement didn't go according to the way the groom had in mind. And it's such a great way to kind of like disarm them. They've spoken about themselves for like the last 30 minutes, and now I get to start walking them through stuff. Now, looking at this image, most folks don't have a clue of what they want. They say, like, nearly everyone I meet says, listen, we want to have our wedding really, really different. We're going to have it at Avianto, and we're going to have like a real Tuscan vibe. We're just going to have greenery and whatever, you know. And then I'm like, I mean, wow, so super unique. But I draw myself back and go, ah, that's cool. And would you do something like this? Would you like, and maybe chuck in some unique stuff? One thing I can recommend is, guys, a quick little segue is subscribe to Masterclass. I don't know if some of you guys have seen it. It's the most amazing opportunity to sit at the feet of sages in the industry. So Annie Leibovitz has a masterclass. I think it cost like $3,000. Well, it was before the rand dollar dipped so badly. I think it used to be like $3,000 for a year, and then you can watch masterclasses from Annie Leibovitz to Anna Wintour to whatever, Tim Curry, to poker players, to chefs, Gordon Ramsay, and then Hans Zimmer, the way that he does musical scores, and Danny Elfman, and Ron Howard as a director. I mean, these are guys that are the tops of their industries, teaching us about their processes, how they do things. And it's so worth it, because I feel as a creative, the better I know how to, or let's just say the more I'm opening up my my perspective, the better I have a creative eye that's trained to pick stuff up. So whatever, an example of Hans Zimmer talking about how he wrote the score for Batman. And it was beautiful the way he spoke about two notes that didn't finish into a third note, because he wanted to create a constant tension. And that, hearing stuff like that, helped me to become a better photographer or a better storyteller, because my eyes were opened up to different ways that other people tell stories. And listening to, I don't even know her name, but it's an interior designer, listening to the way she creates like mood trays for different rooms, and where she draws her inspiration from, that kind of stuff has been really, really helpful for me to be creative. So looking at this picture now, where couples don't really have a clue of what they want, but they do just know that they want it to be different, I can come, having drawn from so many creative sages, I can kind of give them some ideas, and they'd be like, wow, like this is amazing. I really feel like you're a pro, because you, I can feel like you're a safe hands to try and trust our thousands of bucks to, but also the memories that we want to look back on as the most important day of our lives. And that kind of stuff is super, is super fruitful, because guys book with people that they can feel safe with. You know, a lot of our clients, you know, their parents might be paying for the weddings, but although a lot of folks now are paying for their own stuff, but we need to respect that we are. I mean, I know that I'm charging a lot. I couldn't pay what I've charged for photography. If my daughters had to get married now, I wouldn't pay what I'm paying. Or let's say I wouldn't pay what I'm charging. I would definitely haggle my way down. But which is why I can respect a haggle when I receive one. You know, like, okay, cool. Let's try to work through this and see how we can make a plan. if I can let folks know that, hey, I'm here to work with it, and we're going to make sure that you get the most amazing stuff, then they feel like, okay, cool, we can point in the same direction now because we are all three going in the same direction, and you're leading us, and we feel safe. And then the next thing is, so as we're browsing through the albums now, I've put images in there that would inspire them. So, and obviously, I'm meeting with many different cultures, so I'm trying to mix it up. And it's amazing how folks they don't easily get offended. Or maybe it's just the clients that I tend to attract. But, there's obviously a lot of religious differences between Muslim and Jewish and Christian. And even though I might have a lot of those different types of folks, or even interracial couples, folks don't get too worked up by having different, by having a whole lot of different races and ethnicities and religions in an album. But they are drawn to like the uniqueness of the way, like whatever an Indian wedding might be very different to an Afrikaans wedding. So inspiring them with lots of different ideas and merging cultures and just cool shots, gets them excited about stuff. And as I'm walking through the album, I'm explaining to them like, the phrase that, it's such a cool idea. As I'm walking through, so I'm going to come in and take some photos of your details, like your fragrance. And then they're like, oh no, man, that's lame. Well, we just want photos of our friends and our family. I'm like, well, you have to really tell like the story. So I want to, and all of the stuff, like if you, and I kind of paint the picture, like if you look at a really good movie, let's say a Guy Ritchie movie, he's not like picture of hero, picture of heroine, picture of hero and heroine together. Long shot, just hero and heroine in the photo. He's got like, you need an establishing shot. You need to kind of like draw people on a journey. So for me, the photos of your details is important because it's the stuff that's transformed you from a girl into a bride and from a dude into a groom. So we need to kind of have those stuff. And then you kind of get their buy-in. And then I'm like, kick the guy under the table and I'm like, a new bottle of perfume is such a great gift to give on the wedding day. Because
that's fantastic.
Your olfactory glands or sense, let's say, the sense of smell is so powerful that every time she wears that fragrance, you're going to be drawn back to that day, that as she eventually walked down the aisle and you looked her in the eye and you were, wiping away your tears as she's coming down. And now she's already tearing up on the other side of the table already. And then, as she stops and stands next to you and you're surrounded by the smell of whatever, Vieira Wang white or whatever. And every time she wears that fragrance again on a date night or on an anniversary or something, you're gonna, your brain is gonna take you back to that moment, and that's super important. And then it's so amazing, like as you're talking to them like an artist with all of these soft issues, they are like getting pulled in hook, line, and sinker. They like, it feels like, I know, look, honestly, guys, I know that there are photographers out there that are much better than me. But I feel like the journey that I take folks on inspires them so much. Cool, thanks. That they trust me so deeply that when I arrive on the wedding day, they are so grateful and happy to see me that I feel like a rock star, man. And then they are up for any idea that I have, that they just let me do my thing. And then by the time we leave that night, they have such an amazing high regard for me. I'm so grateful. It feels like we're leaving as friends. And then by the time it comes to their photos, they have such an elevated view of what they're going to get in this product that personally, looking at my work and looking at other guys' works, who I think is sometimes way better than mine, they look at this and they're like, well, they're weeping because they have this high view already. So when their first photo comes in, they already thinking like, oh my gosh, this is the best picture I've ever seen in my life, which is so great. And I think it is because I've introduced them to the art of what we're doing, and that's why they get the buy-in, and that's why they want to spend so much cash on this specific thing. I know and that's why they would choose to spend more money with me than less money with somebody else. And anybody that wants to go have a look, my prices are on my website. We kind of start with the basic package of like 22, which is like one photographer, no album, just me for 8 hours. And then it goes up to like 40, even 70K. And guys are spending that. And like I said, I think it's madness, but they're doing it because they see it as an art, not just as like a documenting of the event.
Yeah. But it's also, you know, you're not selling pictures. That's the thing. You know, you're not selling a picture. I mean, here my phone can take a picture. You know, I can go to Take a Lot and buy a kit and whatever that can take a picture. There's a lot more to it that you're selling, and I mean it's literally the selling the dream. You know, you were talking about now with that meeting. That first meeting is so critical because that can make or break. You know, you get to understand them, they get to understand you, and the trust is already starting to be built. And if you can, you know, as you say there, the hook, line, and sinker. If you can do that, then you've got it. You know, then it's all pretty much a done deal. You just got to go there, do your thing, and they'll be happy. You know, just about. It's amazing, and I've been super fortunate, man, with the folks that I meet. And I like to say, like, guys, I don't want you to book yet. And I love to like play that, you know, like, no, man, we'll talk money later. Don't stress. I first want to meet you and make sure that we connect, you know. I'm going to be spending more time with you on your wedding day than your own parents do. So you guys need to make sure that you can get along with me too. And I want to make sure that I want to do the wedding. And I love to do that. Obviously I'm going to do the wedding. I've got kids in private school, man. I gotta definitely do it. But I put it out there like that. I word it like that so that they like, we've got to be nice to him. No, we'll pay for this because no, it's a business meeting. It's fine. No, it's on us. It's on totally on us because they like want to try and make sure that they're in my good favor, so that I can do that, so that I'll elect to do their wedding. Which is, I mean, it really is an honor when folks choose you to be the one that to capture their day. It really is. And looking at this picture here, you know, I think it's so important to also, like, we know the bride makes the decisions. It's pretty much her day. The guy gets an invitation, he rocks up and he's there. But I think it's during those meetings, it's so important to play. Maybe I do this because I'm a guy, but I play a lot to the groom as well. I make sure that he doesn't just feel like he's just there to, you know, swipe the card and pay the bill. But I kind of get him. I get his buy-in a lot and like make him laugh and then when they go home that night, you know, I have an ambassador in my camp, you know, on his side, that she might be like, I'm not sure about these two photographers. Which one? You know, they're pretty much the same budget. They kind of have the same look. Which one do you think? And he's like, man, dude, totally Alexander. He was such a luck. You know, we had the most fun with him. I'm keen to have him do our photo, and that's cool. That's where I want to get to. So I walked him through what a wedding day is, and as they're going through the pictures, they you know, they can kind of see different moments, and then I kind of tell them a little bit about a story between each of those moments. Like, when this happened, they tried whatever. They tried popcorn, wasn't a great idea, went straight down her dress. But don't worry, he got it later, that's fine. And then, you know, just show them beautiful stuff of little ways that I might think creatively about pulling in their environment of where they got married. And okay, cool. It was rain. Are you concerned about rain? No stress. Look at what we did here when it was raining. You know, like all of this stuff had filled up with rain, and we made it part of their story. And then, like, you know, walking them through, like, from ceremony to whatever, the confetti shot, and then like taking them through. Okay, cool. We went through the streets of Swakopmund, and then like chucking out a whole lot of like different locations. And then, guys, we know, I mean, the family is there. Those are folks that you had to invite, but, you know, the main ones are your mates, right? So we love to have a proper jaw with them.
And we do. And I honestly, like, as folks are browsing through, you know, and folks on Instagram and Facebook that are like have liked our page or follow us, they would have been like, okay, cool, yeah, we know of this friend of a friend of a friend that, cool, that whose wedding you did. And then I'd be like, cool, you know what? Ask them what the total experience was from when they first met me, to when the final bill or when the final album got arrived at their doorstep and things like that. Ask them what the total experience was. I'd love you to, because I totally trust the brand and the thing and the quality of work that I give. And if you don't know anyone, I dare you to go onto my Facebook or onto my website and browse through. You can go back to whatever 2000 and something and randomly select a couple and say, I want their contact details so that I can find it out. Nobody has ever asked me that, but just that challenge has made them be like, wow, this guy's super confident that he's definitely going to be delivering the right stuff. Yeah, so then just continually taking them through like pretty images, and say sometimes I use some off-camera light, and then sometimes we use some natural light, and sometimes we want to get like really close, intimate moments, and sometimes we want to get some aloof moments. And I love to end off usually with this type of an image. Now, I'm sorry, it's really pixelated. I can see it's a low-res image here, but this has become like one of my favorites.
It's not pixelated. Those are raindrops. Come on, sell the dream. Sell the dream.
These guys were so used to really, really bad internet. Everything was buffering in their lives. So I wanted to tell this buffered story of a bad pixelated image.
There you go.
So I love to end off my albums all with like a rainy shot. And then I'm like, then I say, you know, and even if it rains, we'll make a plan. We'll still tell your story in the most beautiful way possible, because that's our job, right? We want to walk them through their day and then know that they're in safe hands, know that they're going to get something completely unique, know that I'm in it for them, not for the cash. And then we're going to be on this journey together. They won't be left in the lurch, and I'm a safe set of hands. And even if it rains, we'll take pretty pictures. And then I take a step back, and then they're like, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, I hope it rains on our wedding day as well. When you converted something that went from like a nervousness to something that they want because they can see your creative eye. And then they're like, cool, where do we sign? I'm like, no, you guys go home, chat about it. I'll follow up. I mean, don't worry, your date is safe. I have it in my calendar as tentative. So if anybody is interested in the day, I'll let you know, and then find out where you guys are at. But take your time, just chill. We'll chat when you're ready. And then normally, like by the time they've arrived home, I've already received an email like, we're ready for it. We're probably convinced. Let's go. Which package would you recommend? I'd normally walk through the timeline of the day with them. I'd normally walk through like, okay, this is the time the sun's going to set at your venue on the day. They love that. That makes it look like such a pro, even though it was like a 99-cent app, or you can even Google it for free. While you're there with them. And then you work back through the timeline and you kind of, oh, cool, this is kind of how the day should run. And then they feel like, yeah, man, this guy knows his stuff. So usually like of the folks that I've met, that I've actually had a coffee date with, 97% of them would have always have booked, which is really cool. So there I feel like I might be doing something right with that sell. On that first meeting. And I think a lot of it is because you're inspiring them, but also because you're not just trying to close the deal right there and then. Yeah, cool. So I think, we can, sorry. I want to know, is there any questions? Like, should we?
I think they're all in awe of the images. So there'll probably be questions, more questions at the end. But I reckon they're just looking at this, going, "Wow,
that's awesome! That's awesome, great." And you know what? So much of the stuff, I'm often like, even these backlit shots of mine, I'm always like, guys, I'm using the same. I use a backlight as well when I'm doing the dancing shots, and I'm pretty much. I haven't even changed the settings, man. I've taken it from the dancing to where we're going to shoot the location in the night, and then I just shoot it there as well. It's like it's so crazy easy. I'm like, why don't more people just do this and do this right? It's really easy. But maybe what I should quickly share here is the mixtape rule.
We've got Facebook likes to cut us off on the hour, so I think we've probably got 4 minutes, and then we'll cut us off unceremoniously.
Okay, perfect. So what I watched this beautiful movie called High Fidelity with John Cusack ages ago. It's an old movie, but in there he has this there's the mixtape story, or there's rules to making a mixtape. And he's like, no. So you got to start off with something powerful, and then you take it up a notch, and then you go back to maybe your fourth best song, which is also really, really great, but shows a little bit more of your quirky side. And then you go back to something that's wow. And I follow that same process when I'm doing my blog. So I always make sure as soon as the wedding's done, I send within 2 days, I send a teaser pic to the couple, just so that they can have something pretty to update on their Instagram or WhatsApp profiles, and not like Uncle Joe's Samsung photo. And then when I get the edited images back from my editor, I immediately create a blog with it, and then that you'll find that on the recent work on my website, and that's the kind of the link that I share to them, so that they can share that with others. And that's probably got about 300 of my favorite images. That's all been meshed and pushed together. So probably 100 of my best images that tell the story, and then they can send that. And then I send the USB of the 1,000 images that we've edited to them. But it's so important to tell that story well. And I feel like if you're starting off with something powerful, bang out the gate, then every other image that they look at from then on is, they have a higher view of it. And I think that that's super important, rather than just doing it chronologically. Yeah, that is me in a nutshell. That's what I would love to challenge you guys. Be creative. Don't worry about, when people know that you're just chasing the bucks, then they don't feel safe. If they know that you're going to be looking after their hearts and leading their hearts into something that's going to make their kids look at in awe, then they know that that's the place that they can spend money on. So do it that way, and then you will be rich and famous, like Quentin.
Well, listen, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to show us your images. The one thing that I'm finding about all of these presentations is how fired up I'm getting. It's sort of it reminds me about stuff, and then you think, oh, well, I'm seriously getting so pumped by all of the guys that have presented their work. It's inspiring. It's reinvigorating. I absolutely love it. So I really want to say thank you so much. I appreciate you for coming on, showing us your images. And please, at the end, go and have a look on the group, answer some questions, etc. I'm sure the guys have put some there now. But I really just wanted to say, first off, thank you so much. You're awesome. And yeah, it's great to have you here. And just enjoy the rest of the day. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter. You too,
cool, man. Cheers. Bye.